I entered this campaign because I believe that the American people wanted a change. All I have seen and all I have heard in every part of this country has strengthened that belief. To say that everything is well, to speak of the politics of joy, in the face of the facts which confront us in each day's newspapers or on the television screen, is a great disservice. I've entered this race because I believe in the American dream, the dream of a united nation working to improve the welfare of its own people and leading the way toward an enduring world peace, to end the injustices which afflict so many of our fellow citizens who are poor and oppressed in this rich land, to restore the process of government to the people themselves, giving more communities more power over their future and their destiny. If the American people want a change, and if they want to move in that direction, then I believe that I can be elected President of the United States. In any event, Sir Francis Bacon said, "There's far more loss to be lost by not trying than by not succeeding," and I'm going to try. I will make a statement and then I'll answer some questions. Just get there.
I think you're on the couple of
Well, you've got to.
Yeah, maybe we can move back.
I just want to say how happy I am to be back in California. I have a feeling I know what President Johnson said to me, what he meant when he said to me, "Go west, young man, go west." Dear congratulations to Senator McCarthy on his achievement in yesterday's Democratic presidential primary in Oregon. Those results represent a setback to my prospects for receiving the presidential nomination of my party. A setback, as I have previously stated, which I could ill afford. However, many presidential nominees have lost a primary and won both the nomination and the election. I believe there is still great hope for a final victory of the convictions and the policies that I have been discussing, and for the great principle that the people themselves should be allowed a decisive vote in selecting the man who should run for president. These policies and that principle have been endorsed by the people of Indiana and Nebraska and the District of Columbia. The Oregon primary, although a personal loss, clearly shows that the citizens who make up the Democratic Party wish to select their own nominee, since they gave more than 80% of their votes to the candidates, willing to enter the primaries and anxious for a change. I now intend to test my beliefs in the largest of the states, here in the state of California, and I also intend to continue my campaign in the state of South Dakota. The depth of my convictions and my deep concern about this country allows no other course, and I will be defeated. I do not believe the people, given a free choice across this country, would vote against that change. However, they may never have such a choice. Vice President Humphrey is a leading contender for the Democratic nomination, even though he has been unwilling to present his views to the voters of a single state. I've worked with the Vice President in the past, and he is a fine man. He has spoken out for virtually every policy and every program for the past 5 years, and the fervent expression of his views leaves little doubt of the sincerity of his conviction. If the Vice President is nominated to oppose Richard Nixon, there will be no candidate who has opposed the continued escalation of the war in Vietnam. There will be no candidate committed to the kinds of programs which can remedy the conditions which are presently transforming our cities into armed camps. There will be no candidate committed to returning government to the people or returning to the economic policies which gave us rising prosperity without destructive inflation. Yet that may be precisely the choice for which we are headed. It is hard to believe, after the recent months of hope, that our political system will ultimately fail to offer a people the choice to move in a new and hopeful direction. I think it is time, however, for the Vice President to confront the forces of progress and change within the Democratic Party. After all, the Democrats of Oregon, like those in every single primary held thus far, soundly rejected an endorsement of our party's present policy and leadership by a margin of more than 4-1. 4 contested primaries have been held since Vice President Humphrey announced his candidacy. In every one of those 4 primaries, those Democrats who preferred the Vice President's position had an opportunity on the ballot to so indicate. And in every one of those 4 primaries, despite efforts of Mr. Humphrey's backers at the top echelon of organized labor and elsewhere, the voters rejected that position overwhelmingly. That is a clear expression of the rank-and-file sentiment within our party. Democracy, to run without giving the people a chance to compare views and make judgments, as Senator McCarthy has done, as I have done, and as even Vice President Nixon has done. The results in Oregon make all the more decisive the results in California's primary next Tuesday. This state contains all the diverse elements of the national electorate. It is the largest state in the Union. Democrats here will choose between 3 slates of delegates, 1 committed to my candidacy, 1 committed to the candidacy of Senator McCarthy, and 1 previously committed to President Johnson and now largely favoring Vice President Humphrey. In short, it will be a fair test to each candidate's appeal to our differing philosophies, convictions, and qualifications, the grassroots, and I will abide by the results of that test. The preamble to the Constitution calls upon the new nation to form a more perfect union, establish justice, and ensure domestic tranquility, promote the general welfare, and provide the blessings of liberty for ourselves and for our posterity. Tranquility and justice, human welfare and liberty, the defense of this nation and its perfect union, these are as much our goals today as they were 200 years ago. Yet we can only restore those ancient values through imagination and ideas designed to suit the conditions of the future. This is what our founding fathers believed when they said our liberty needs to be freshly restored in every generation. And that is what I am trying to do. If, however, they wish to continue the present course, the convictions I represent, and with the help of my supporters, and with the help of others in this state of California and in the nation, by next week I hope that we have and see some success. Not for ourselves, but for those who will inherit this country, for our children, for the next generation of Americans. Thank you.
Senator, are you accepting an invitation to debate the Democrats in California?
I made that clear in my statement that I'd be glad to debate. I would hope Vice President Humphrey would also come.
But you will accept it singly.
Yes, I will.
Senator, there's a very small Negro
the Vice
majority.
President is the Democratic nominee in the fall. Will you support him?
I'll support the nominee of the Democratic Party.
Senator, you said you would abide by the result of the California primary. Does this mean that you will withdraw if you lost the California primary?
I think the statement speaks for itself.
Senator, there's very few Negroes who live in the state of Oregon, and many of the Negroes in California support you. Do you think perhaps this was part of the reason that you did lose in the state of Oregon?
There were very few Negroes living in the state of Nebraska, and I won the...
Senator, do you believe this morning, after Oregon, the truth of what you said about being an effective and viable candidate? Is that remark as valid this morning as it
Well,
was
I
yesterday?
slept on it, and my statement speaks for itself. I'm going to try. I believe strongly obviously in what I talked about over the period of the last several months and what I've talked about over my political career, and I'm going to ask that it be tested before the voters of the state of California, and I ask for their support. I'm going to do the best I can, and I hope that I gain their
In your
support.
opinion, politically speaking, is that statement as valid today as it was when you...
As I say, you see that I'm going on with this campaign, and I hope I have the support of the people of the state of
We
California.
should have actually had you said
You're
it.
going to ask for a debate before the next Tuesday's primary and try to...
I would be glad to. I would be glad to debate at any time.
Senator,
Ready for time yet?
No, I have not.
You didn't have during this next week if possible.
I will be glad to. Yes.
Senator Eugene Wyman,
Excuse me. I'm going to talk about the issues that I talked about in Indiana, and the District of Columbia, and Oregon, and Nebraska. I think that's the only thing that I can do. That's what I believe in, and that's what I'm concerned about. And if it would be untrue to myself and untrue to my convictions if I was elected on any other basis. So I can't change that. That's what I believe in. If people don't accept that, then the people will decide that they want to move in a different direction, and it's much better that they know that beforehand.
Senator, have you
No, I don't, there's nothing that I really can think of at the moment. I'm just going to go to the people and do the best I can.
in Oregon had you known the outcome?
No, I can't think right at the moment what I would have done
why
differently.
did you lose Oregon?
I would think that, yes, I would think that could come very close to describing how I feel about California.
Was your strategy bad in Oregon?
I know a telegram came in, but I'm not sure whether I've accepted it or not. I mean, I'm glad to debate. I don't know what the exact forum will be, and I just don't know about that particular program. I mean, I just can't answer that question.
You received any communication from Senator McCarthy since last night?
No, I have not.
Senator, with this time,
Excuse me?
up to this time, you have not criticized either Senator McCarthy or his policies. In the light of what happened in Oregon, do you think this might have been a tactical mistake?
Well, I suppose that people will be analyzing what I should have done to be more successful in Oregon. I felt under the circumstances that I would try to present a positive program of what I believe. There were statements made about me and about my record and about how I stand on matters that I never discussed, which were taken out of context or were not accurate. If those statements are made again here in the state of California, I will discuss them. And I would hope that the statements that were made about me in the state of Oregon will be made to my face at a debate.
Senator, why do you think you lost Oregon?
Why did I lose? Just because I didn't do well enough. I mean, there wasn't any, I could just, the only fault or blame is me. I can't, that's me.
Senator, you'll win in this state, Senator?
The what?
You feel pretty confident that you'll win in this state, and by what percentage?
Can you ask me that after Oregon? I'm going to do the best I can, and I ask for the support. I'm going to work very hard. The people that have supported me and believe in the same things that I believe in, I think will work hard, because I think not for themselves, but for what is involved in the future of this country. That's what I believe very, very strongly. I'm going to do all that I can, and I've done all that I can so far, and if at the end of it I'm not successful, then I will have to abide by that, because people have then made a choice in the largest state of the Union that they want to move in a different direction.
Senator
Senator, you
McCarthy
said
has
that Vice
challenged you
President
before,
Humphrey
Senator.
should confront the forces of progress and change. How does he do that? How would you have to do that?
Well, first I think it was that he should have gone into some of the primaries, but secondly, I would come into the state now, in the state of California, and I would go on a discussion and a debate with Senator McCarthy and myself, or I would be glad to debate with him personally, and I think that he should campaign in the states in which we have primaries.
Why
Do you
debate
think there's
with
any way
McCarthy
of-
now?
I don't see, for instance, in the state of Oregon, the campaign was conducted on his behalf, but he didn't come. I think he should be willing to come, and this is extremely important. It's the largest state of the Union. It's a diverse electorate, and they can hear his policies and his arguments against my policy.
Well, he had challenged you in Oregon, and I believe you did not accept then. Why would you
What is
accept
this?
now?
What is this?
Didn't he challenge you to a debate
Who's
in
he?
Oregon, Senator McCarthy,
Yes,
on a station in Portland? You did not accept. Why would you accept now?
because the conditions have changed.
Senator, in retrospect, do you regret that effective and viable statement? Do you regret making that statement?
Well, if we go back to statements, Gene McCarthy said if he didn't, there would only be one person who would walk out of Indiana. And he made similar statements before Nebraska. I don't think I am not the same candidate I was before Oregon. I can't claim that I am. And so I have a much more difficult course than if I had won in the state of Oregon. So I suppose it's a question of magnitude and the use of that expression, maybe not as viable. I don't know. But in any case, the others have made statements that are
Mainly
similar.
concerned about the vice president. That's the man you're really worried about.
Oh, well,
Senator
yes.
McCarthy.
But I have to defeat Senator McCarthy to arrive at the vice president. But I think that the one that gained the most last night, Oregon, was Vice President Humphrey.
If McCarthy wins in California, can he get the nomination?
Excuse me?
Regardless of the outcome of the California primary, do you feel that the opposition to the Humphrey candidacy should go forward, and would you join that opposition?
Well, I'm going to make a determination or judgment after California. As I say, I'm in California to win. I'm going to make the effort here in the state of California, and I think that I have some support in California.
Senator, what response would you make to columnist Bill Pearson's charge concerning the bugging of parking?
The same statement that I've made over the period since I was Attorney General of the United States, that I was never involved in any wiretapping, except in national security matters and except at the request of the Federal Bureau of Investigation on the basis that the national security was involved, and I never discussed individual cases.
Senator McCarthy's win in Oregon will influence unconventional voters in California. In other words, those voters who influence the president.
Well, we'll see Tuesday. won't we? Lost. I suppose I'd say, as Abraham Lincoln said about the man who was carried out on a steel rail out of the city, and he said that except for the honor, I'd like to have passed it up. But that's the same way I feel about Oregon, except for the distinction of being the first Kennedy to lose. I just as soon have passed. Well, I think it's I think that probably I have to win here. I haven't dealt with percentages before, and I don't think it's very helpful at the moment. I've got to go because I've got thousands of fans waiting for me, I hope. Thank you very much.
Senator, did I understand you correctly? Did you say you're now